They say some mysteries were never meant to be unearthed, and when a frozen body emerged from the melting Alps in 1991, the world didn't just gain history, it invited something older, colder, and far darker than anyone expected. It began with a simple hike, quiet day in the mountains, and a discovery that would echo death for years. They called him Ötzi, the Iceman, but those who found him whispered something else, a curse, a warning. A silent scream from 5,000 years ago that still reaches into our world today. Helmut and Erika Simon weren't looking for trouble. They weren't archaeologists or treasure hunters or thrill seekers. Just a retired German couple who loved the high trails, the wind, and the untouched places. On that chilly September afternoon, the sky was quiet, and the air carried that stillness unique to high altitudes. As they crossed a narrow ridge near the Ötztal Alps, something caught Helmut's eye, something dark, curved, and unnatural sticking out of the ice. At first he thought it was trash, maybe an old piece of equipment left behind by climbers. But as he moved closer, the shape didn't look metallic, it looked organic. He cleared away some ice with his hand, and the truth rose like breath in winter. A withered arm, skin the color of copper, fingers curled stiffly, as though gripping the last moment of life. He called for Erika, his voice trembling, and together they uncovered more and more until a full human torso appeared, leaning forward as if frozen mid-fall. Neither of them knew yet what they were looking at. Not a recent victim, not a trapped hiker, something older, much older. The couple alerted authorities, and soon a recovery team climbed to the site, cutting the frozen body free from the glacier. No one could imagine how significant it was. They were too busy, too focused, too determined. If they had known what this discovery would cost them, perhaps they would have walked away. As the body thawed, scientists realized they were facing something unprecedented. Ancient clothing, bearskin hat, leather shoes stuffed with grass for insulation, goatskin leggings, a deerskin coat, and a finely crafted quiver. A copper axe, almost perfectly preserved, shocked the archaeological community. Such tools were rare and precious in the Copper Age. Tattoos, over 60 of them, covered his body, arranged in odd geometric patterns along joints and pressure points. His hair, his teeth, even the contents of his stomach survived the ice. He was older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, a human time capsule. But while newspapers celebrated the discovery, a darker story began to unfold behind the scenes. Helmut Simon, the man who discovered Ötzi, became an overnight sensation. Interviews, photographs, invitations from scholars, everyone wanted to speak to him. But months later, in a cruel echo of the frozen man he found, Helmut went hiking alone during bad weather. A sudden blizzard struck, visibility vanished, and Helmut slipped off the edge of a steep, icy slope. They found his body a week later, buried in snow, broken, as if the mountain had taken back what he had stolen. The eerie part is what happened next. During Helmut's search, the rescue team worked around the clock. Leading them was a man named Dieter Warnecke, a strong, experienced climber. He pushed himself to exhaustion, heart pounding under freezing temperatures. A week after Helmut's funeral, Dieter collapsed from a sudden heart attack at just 45. Healthy, fit, gone. 2 deaths, both connected to Ötzi. Coincidence, they said, pure coincidence, and the world shrugged, for now. Meanwhile, forensic experts analyzed the mummy more deeply and found chilling details. An arrowhead lodged in his left shoulder, trauma to the back of his skull, fresh blood from at least 4 different individuals on his tools and clothing. Ötzi didn't die peacefully, he died violently. Someone shot him with an arrow from behind, puncturing an artery. Someone struck him in the head. Someone wanted him dead. But why did his killers leave him high in the mountains? How did his body become preserved so perfectly? Why were so many signs of struggle present, yet the final resting place looked almost staged? Even more mysterious, the pollen in his digestive system indicated he died in spring, yet he was found in a high-altitude region associated with late-season snows. Had he been carried there after his death? Was his body moved? Or was this a ritual, a sacrifice? As these questions deepened, so did the pattern of deaths. The next was Rainier Hen, the forensic pathologist who performed the first official examination. Passionate, dedicated, and one of the first to handle the frozen body with his bare hands, Rainier was eager to uncover Ötzi's secrets. He was scheduled to speak at a conference about the findings, but on the drive there, his car spun out of control on a wet road and crashed into an oncoming vehicle. He died instantly, his notes scattered across the pavement like cold confessions. Then came Kurt Fritz, the mountain guide who led scientists to the remote discovery site. He was an expert in avalanche territory, known for precision and caution. Yet while skiing with friends, an avalanche struck without warning. Others dodged the slide, but Kurt was the only one caught in its deadly path, buried beneath tons of ice and snow. The fourth death tied to the Iceman. By now, journalists whispered the word curse with increasing boldness. But skeptics rolled their eyes. Coincidences happen. Mountains are dangerous. Roads are wet. People die. But deep down, even they felt the growing unease. The man who documented the entire recovery on film, Rainier Holtzel, fell sick with an aggressive brain tumor. Within months, he was gone. Another connection. Another body. Another shadow cast by a 5,300-year-old corpse. And yet the most unsettling case was that of Conrad Spindler, the lead archaeologist. Charismatic, confident, and brilliant, Conrad dismissed curse theories publicly with a mocking laugh. He declared during a press event, "If people are trying to say there is a curse on the mummy, I think it's nonsense. It's all superstition." Within a year, Conrad was gone, taken by a rare, fast-spreading disease that doctors struggled to explain. 5 experts, a hiker, and a rescue leader had died in a short span, all connected to Ötzi in direct ways. Some touched him, some studied him, some moved him. And each time the mummy entered a new phase of examination, another life seemed to dim. But the curse stories don't end there. Even museum staff swore that electronic equipment malfunctioned whenever Ötzi was nearby. Lights flickered, machines froze, temperature sensors dropped and spiked without cause. A night guard once quit after hearing what he described as footsteps behind the glass, even though he stood alone in a sealed room. The more scientists scanned Ötzi, the more unsettling his story became. Tattoos located exactly on acupuncture points, centuries before acupuncture was known. A copper axe suggesting he was someone important, maybe a leader or shaman. His last meal included ibex meat and ancient grains. He traveled far before his death. His blood contained isotopes from multiple regions. He was hunted, ambushed, wounded, and possibly finished off in ritual fashion. Whoever killed him wanted something hidden, something never meant to surface again. And then came the detail that unsettled even hardened researchers. When they examined the arrow wound, they found that the shaft had been removed. Someone had pulled the arrow from his body. Was it to prevent identification? Or to conceal the weapon type? Or perhaps the killer believed the body needed to be left clean for spiritual reasons. If Ötzi had been part of a ritual or shamanic order, perhaps his death wasn't just murder, but punishment or sacrifice. More theories surfaced. Some believed Ötzi was part of a tribal conflict. Others thought he was a healer. Some said he was a man carrying forbidden knowledge, tattoos, tools, and a copper blade too advanced for his time. Others claimed that his death marked the end of an ancient pact, and disturbing his frozen grave broke something sacred. But the most chilling thought is simpler. Ötzi wasn't cursed. He was the curse.
Frozen in time, preserved like a warning, locked away for 5,000 years until humans with modern tools and curious minds decided to pull him back into the world. Maybe it wasn't meant to happen. Maybe his presence in our time wasn't a gift from the past, but a crack in something that should have remained sealed. When you look through the list of those who died, the pattern grows undeniable. Sudden storms, freak accidents, unexplained heart failures, rare diseases, brain tumors, avalanches. It reads like a timeline written by something ancient, patient, and precise. A slow, creeping retribution. Even today, the museum that houses Ötzi maintains strict environmental controls. His glass chamber stays chilled to replicate the exact ice conditions that preserved him. Yet even under perfect conditions, His body occasionally shows signs of minor decay that baffle experts, like something resisting captivity, like something trying to return to the cold. Visitors stand before the glass, staring at the twisted, frozen form, unaware of the stories whispered among researchers. How a technician once swore he saw the mummy's fingers shift slightly. How a historian fainted after describing a dream of being chased through a snowstorm by a figure with copper skin. How one scientist quit after claiming that Ötzi's eyes followed him across the room. These could be imagination, hallucinations, stress, or something else entirely. The truth is, Ötzi was not just a preserved body. He was a life violently ended, frozen in a moment of terror, carrying secrets his killers hoped would die with him. But the world unearthed him, disturbed him, pulled him from his icy grave. And since then, those who touched him have felt consequences echo across time. 5,000 years is a long time to sleep, long enough for memories to rot, long enough for warnings to fade. But some mysteries endure, some curses wait, and some stories, once uncovered, begin whispering again. So was Ötzi just an archaeological miracle, or a lesson we failed to heed? Were the deaths coincidences, or footsteps of a curse older than recorded history? We may never know, but one truth remains. Every time someone uncovers what should have stayed hidden, the past does not always forgive. And in the frozen silence of the Alps, beneath ice and centuries, something ancient may still be watching.